Buzz, we all know that over the last several years, y'all got into February and y'all began to surge and got better, and sometimes because you had to. Well, y'all don't really necessarily have to this year, so how much better can you get in February?
To be determined. I like the past history that you mentioned. To your point, though, some of that was required. I do think, though, that there is some carryover from the maturity of our group relative to what this month brings. Unlike any of the other months we've had in prior years, I think per month we've had growth. And it doesn't necessarily always reflect in the results, but our guys have been incredible in regards to receiving the lessons. I think they've received those lessons with great humility as a program, me included. Those lessons don't just apply to our players. And I think we've had really high humility, low ego, and great joy in all of it. And not all of it is always easy, but hopefully we can continue on that pace. We'll be stretched in a lot of ways tomorrow, in ways that we haven't been stretched. So tomorrow will be a good litmus test relative to that.
Do you feel like you have a refreshed group, or as refreshed as you can be after a bye week?
Yeah, I think so. We thought a lot about it. You know, we always plan a month in advance, the routine and the rhythm. January was clunky. Every week we rotated Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. So there were 2 9-day consecutive workday weeks in there. Playing the late game on Saturday night, East Coast time, Sunday's got to be an off day. So I think that we've managed it the right way. We did a little bit of research in how we've handled the bye last week or last year. So we took off Monday, and then instead of working Tuesday afternoon, we worked Tuesday morning, so our kids would have Tuesday afternoon off. And then we were off on Wednesday, which we would typically be off if we played on Tuesday. And we did that because up until the last Wednesday of the month, our day off this month will be Wednesday. So yesterday was 2 days, today was 1 day. Different time change when you're 1 day is a road game. Our guys were fantastic. And I think as a staff, we call it program day off. There's normally about 3 a year. Program day off just means nobody can come to work, the coaches or the players. We do have a specific routine we have on day offs relative to the training room, the weight room, skill session for low minute guys, etc. And then there's always a rhythm that we follow on a day off. So we maintained that on Sunday. But we did program day off on Monday, and we did program day off on Wednesday. And so rarely do you get a chance to have 2 days in a 100-day window of being normal person. And as best we could, we tried to figure out what that is. And I think it was good. I think it was good.
What was a normal person thing you did on one of those days?
I'll be very transparent with you. And the guys that have been around me the longest know. I think my struggle, to be honest, is even when I know I have a chance to be a normal person, it takes me half of the time to figure out what that is. And then once I get to the halfway point, I'm like, this is really cool. I could literally do this every day. And then when I get about 3/4 of the way done, I begin to be anxious again. Like, I'm not supposed to do this. I should be doing something else. I'm really bad at it. And I have been as an adult, no matter where I've lived. I think it's probably impacted me as a husband and as a father, to be honest. But I like trying. I'm just not very good at it. But I do think that it's good for normal people to be normal. And I think that's really healthy for our kids. And I think it's really healthy for the spouses and the children of our staff. I think that was really good.
Looking at Missouri, looking at it from the outside, I mean, how do you feel like they've made such a drastic turnaround from? I mean, what do you credit to their success this year as opposed to what last year was like for them?
Well, coach has been a high major coach for 3 years. He was a coach of the year before he got to Missouri. He's going to be coach of the year this year. That's 2 out of 3 years that he's been in the SEC that'll be coach of the year. It's remarkable. What they did in year number 1, and I give credit to Coach Martin, really good team, and Coach Gates did an unbelievable job. But to not win a game last year and to be playing for a double bye and be top 20 in the net in the first week of February, you can't find that anywhere in the country. And so I would give credit to him. I would also give credit to their returning players, some of which were injured last year that contributed to their issues. But they've done an incredible job in the portal, adding to their returning players. And you guys have heard me say it before, they're unlike any team we play in regards to how they play offensively. The only team that would be in the mix of that is Kentucky this year with a new coach. But then the things that they do defensively are different than any other team. So you have very little reps of how they play on both sides of the ball. And so their changeability is very high. And then their versatility, they're going to play 10 guys with a lot of switchable types in a 5-out scenario. And in the month of January, they were the number 1 offense in the United States. Overall, throughout the season, they're a top 10 offense, and they do a lot of things that make you have to make decisions, and there's a lot of consequence to those decisions. And then defensively, they're ever changing. So credit to coach, credit to his staff, credit to their returning players and their resilience, and credit to the newcomers that they've added, because they're Wednesday night they played the last 2 games. Their huge win at Mississippi State and at Tennessee, they played every scholarship player on the roster. And so there's a lot of depth to what they do, talent, roster, and style of play.
Specifically to the offense, Grill, I think he's 31. He's like number 2 in the country in 3-point shooting. Just when you watch the tape, what just makes him such an effective shooter?
He is 1,000% that. Highest number of attempts on the team, second leading scorer, shooting 50% from 3, as you mentioned. And I think the other thing, similar to the previous question, he's not the only guy on the floor that can shoot. That's the first thing. And he's not the only guy on the floor, including 31, who can put it on the floor and cause rotation. And stereotypically speaking, all 5 guys are going to be at least 18 feet away from the basket. So all of your decisions on the weak side are long closeout decisions. And I think the chaos that they cause you defensively and the unpredictability, like their transition volume rate's 45%. That is ultra high. And then 58% of the shots they've shot in the SEC have happened in the first 12 seconds. And as they're running in transition, nobody's running to the rim. They're all running out behind 3. And so 31, elite, like will play a long time because of his ability to make a shot. But he's not the only one. And like when you get into the depth of their 3-point field goal percentage shooting and how they're getting them, that's why they've had so much success. That's why they beat Kansas. That's why they win at Florida. That's why what happened at Mississippi State, and I think Chris Jans is top 5 coach in the country. Like, that's never happened to him as a Division I head coach, wherever he's coached. It was just like, and 31 was a part of that. He's literally shooting it from the logo, the state of Mississippi. And yeah, he's otherworldly.
Coach, up into the free throw line 65 times in the last 2 games. I know y'all like to get there, but anything you can point to and say, hey, this is why we're getting successful again, and how do you keep that going?
I think we're second in the league in free throw attempts. I think Alabama's a few attempts ahead of us. I think what's helped our points per possession in those last two games, Olin, is we've made them, like normal team make. 82% last time we were in here, 70% in Columbia. It sure does help us. Even if we're not making shots, it for sure helps us. But even when we're making shots, if we can be the first team to the bonus, like Missouri, I think that's an undercover part of their success offensively. They're second in Division I in getting fouled for the season. When you add what he asked in regards to their ability to shoot, if they're collecting points at the free throw line, it's just hard. And we've always tried to be about that since we've lived here. And I think some of it may be the lineup change. We're playing with 3 ball guards a little bit more often while trying to make sure we're still doing our best on the glass, which I do think is what we do best. But I think we missed 9 free throws in Columbia and 5 of them in the last 2 minutes. And that's the first time I've seen 4 miss 2 free throws. I should have looked that up. Maybe when he was a freshman, he missed 2 free throws. But it sure does help us, and we need to continue at that rate.
You have a lot of friends and acquaintances in the NFL. Do you have any Super Bowl ties for this weekend?
Yeah, a lot of transactions in the last 2 weeks with a lot of the people that I know, some of which lost their jobs, some of which have gotten new jobs. I've really enjoyed, I do not know the coach of the Eagles, a huge Andy Reid fan, and could tell you everything that there is to know about him, and have read everything about him. But I think the coach of the Eagles may be misrepresented at times, and I know that happens a lot early in head coaching careers. But I've really enjoyed kind of learning what they're doing and how they're doing it, and the kind of that new genre of NFL head coach and how important relationships are in this day and age. He may kind of have it figured out. The second 4-year manager I've ever had. Every 4-year manager I've ever had is either a Division I coach or works in professional sports. And none of them have ever went by their name. They've had a nickname. And the second manager I ever had who worked all 4 years with us is kind of the Luke Hillen of the Buffalo Bills. So I've kind of had inside access to that since Coach has been there. And I have great admiration for Coach and what they've done and how they've done it. And I've learned a lot from paying attention to Orlando. So I was really clued in on the semifinal or finals of that division, whatever the appropriate words are. But I've talked to a lot of people who've been in New Orleans this week. It's kind of their version of there's only 2 teams playing and it's the Final Four, and everybody's kind of down there learning and networking. So I've talked to a few coaches on my walks that are there. Someday when I'm not coaching, I'd like to. I've never been to a Super Bowl, obviously, because I've been in season, but I'd like to be a fly on the wall and watch all that. What time is the game on Sunday?
5:30.
Okay. Maybe we can conclude our day a little bit before that so we can watch it. What's the line of the game?
That I don't know.
Do you know, Tony?
I think the last time I heard it was Chiefs were plus 2.5, I think, or
2.5.
I think so. I could be wrong though.
So are you a Mahomes guy with your East Texas ties?
Yeah, I know all about that. Remember his dad. Obviously, his dad's a little younger than me. I know I'm dating myself, but pretty cool story. Huge Cliff Kingsbury fan long before he came here, but got to know him nothing to do with Texas A&M and what he did with Mahomes, and like even his numbers like think about all those quarterbacks in that division, and even when it comes to those jobs in that division, I think Coach Carroll just took a job in that division. Like, whew, talk about a thin line. That's like the SEC basketball, you know? Like, boy, you got to be like good just to be around, you know? And you can still be good and be 2-8, you know? Man, that's tough.
That's all. Homestead averaged 30 points a game his senior year at Lindale.
Yeah, and
He was the quarterback.
you know, my mom now lives in Longview, and my 4th grade year, I lived in Winsboro with my mom, and then on my dad's side of the family and my stepmom's side of the family, everybody's in East Texas, Lindale, Tyler, Center, Tenaha, all of that. So I grew up kind of in all of that. So, you know, I mean, you're familiar with it. You're from over there. Like, it's kind of like a badge of honor. Like, yeah, I know where he's from, you know, even though you don't know him. Like, yeah. Man, well, his dad a good pitcher, right?
Well, yeah, he pitched for the Twins, but he could have gone football. He could have gone baseball or basketball.
And I'm not sure Patrick Mahomes could have done the same.
Yeah.
Like, the things you see him do on the football field, it's like, are you a football player? Are you a pitcher? It's like watching Jay Lee. Like, Jay Lee, Northeast Texas, and you're like, hey, Jay Lee, you can throw this football? Yeah, how far are you going to throw it? You want to throw this baseball? Like, at the Buzz Bunch charity softball game, I mean, just sitting at 500 yards, you know? Phenomenal.
Well, you know how it is in a small school.
You just grow up with a ball. Go outside. You want to play? Go outside.
When the season ends, you start the other one.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's when ball was ball. That's right. Thank you, guys.